Let me try to set the storyline for you. This rumor had been out there for about 3 weeks that the Big 12 had talked to Colorado, and Colorado suddenly was expressing interest in maybe leaving the Pac-12 and going back to the Big 12. Within a 24-hour span, the Big 12 presidents meet, and they vote unanimously to offer an expansion berth to readmit the Colorado Buffaloes, who used to be in the Big 12 for about 12 years, and before that in the old Big 8. Colorado's Board of Governors called an emergency meeting Thursday afternoon. We're led to believe they are signing off on making application to go to the Big 12. And the Pac-12 CEOs, which is the presidents, and all the athletic directors on Thursday afternoon were in a day-long Zoom call to try to determine what is next. And the only words that were given to some national media guys about the Pac-12 is, quote, they're looking to trade up to replace Colorado. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of things that are in play here. How does the defection of a bad Colorado team impact the new TV deal the Pac-12 is supposedly about to sign? I don't think it impacts it very much. Colorado has had 2 winning seasons in 11 years since they came to the Pac. No bowl games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement about Coach Prime, Neon Deion Sanders. But at the end of the day, Colorado doesn't move the needle for anybody. There's probably still going to be a bottom feeder for a couple of years. So is it catastrophic for the Pac-12 to lose them? I don't think so. You know, in Colorado, people in Boulder are going crazy. I messaged one of the beat writers that covers CU for the Denver papers. They're going crazy. Well, last I checked, Big 12 is not what it used to be. Mm-hmm. There is no Nebraska to have a hated rivalry. By the way, Oklahoma and Texas out this year, the end of this year going to SEC. So, I mean, if you're excited in the Big 12, is you're going to play BYU and Iowa State. So I don't know. People in Boulder at Folsom Field are going crazy, mostly because of Neon Deion coming on board as head coach. But it's not what it used to be. So it's a blow. Now, here's the sidebar piece of the story. San Diego State just looks like it just is screwed in this whole storyline.
It is.
I mean, now that they've put out this oil fire created by the president de la Torre and the Mountain West commissioner, and everybody's singing, is it Kumbaya? Is that what you sing outside by the fire pit? Everybody in the Mountain West San Diego State singing Kumbaya. Aztecs can't leave. If they leave now, based on the agreement they just reached last week, John, it's $34 million exit fee. And they already said we can't do that. So they are screwed for 2 years. They can't leave the Mountain West. If this had happened a week and a half ago, maybe it could have happened. Maybe, you know, when I heard the word trade up from somebody that covers the Pac-12, I thought to myself, what does that mean? Trade up. Trade up SMU? Trade up Dallas TV market? Now, I know trade up might mean San Diego market, but the Aztecs are locked in. They can't go anywhere. So San Diego State is screwed for 2 years. And there's really nobody else out there off the top of my head that I could think you could go steal. You can't steal TCU, which is a really good program. BYU is going in the front door of the Big 12, so they're no longer available. I would have thought maybe once upon a time that name, that brand carried some cachet. So I would think if the Pac, now it's the Pac-9 going forward, they're going to trade up, then maybe it's SMU, it's a Dallas market, and geez, San Diego State's get screwed.
You know, we were just thinking that the Pac-10, the 10 remaining, were all together, and they were going to sign this deal. And now Colorado is bailed out. I mean, do you think this is going to start to erode, and we're going to start to see other programs leave the Pac-12?
Well, people are of the opinion now that it's going to be down to 9. What's to prevent the Big 10 from calling Oregon and Washington and say, deliver us your Ducks football program and the Huskies a year from now? Unless those schools have signed the deed of grant, which would lock them into the new TV contract. The deed of grant has not been presented on paper yet, only because the contract is not done with the 3 network providers the Pac-12 is negotiating with. It's to me, it's just a really tough call. Yeah, you could go to the Big 10 if you're Oregon and you're Washington. But what does that do in the state legislatures of those states, which apportion money to Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, Washington State?
Mhm.
What does it do to that relationship? Does it fracture it? Does it create real chaos? I think that's a sidebar story that somebody has to pay attention to. The other thing, because the deed of grant has not been signed by anybody yet, because the TV deal is not done in the conference, Colorado doesn't pay an exit fee. They play one more year under the old deed of rights,
Mhm.
and June 1st of 2024, they go, and there's no exit fee because the deed of rights has expired.
Ah.
So there's just so many moving parts to this, but
Well, why did Colorado leave the Big 12 in the first place?
they weren't competitive in the PAC, and they've had all types of affiliations for decades, being a member of the old Big 8,
Mhm.
and then obviously when it became the Big 12. But those days are gone. Those teams are gone.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I'm sorry, there is no bitter rivalry with Bob Devaney in Nebraska.
Mhm.
Same thing with Texas, Oklahoma. They're out the door. I just don't think the Big 12 outside of Oklahoma State is a real sexy conference right now, and yet Colorado thinks we're going back to what we were. Well, where you were during the Bill McCartney era is very different now from where it is today.
Mhm. Well, it's just the Coach Prime angle to this is the other wild card.
Yeah.
Because even though the team is not expected to do great, they will be a sensation and they will get a lot of viewers. So I know this is just intriguing. But thinking of as the Pac-12 program, Denver is like on the other side of the mountain, the Rocky Mountains. So it doesn't feel like it was really never ever connected to the Pacific in the first place.
Well, that's because they were bad. If they had been Colorado in the Bill McCartney era, national championship type caliber,
Mhm.
that would have been a sexy addition to the Pac-10 conference, but they weren't because they fell into disrepair. Looking back, you remember the name Dan Hawkins. He was a
Mm.
head coach at Boise State. He's the one that actually put Boise State on the map.
Okay.
And he moved around. He wound up at Colorado, and I thought, what a great hire. And it fell flat on his face. He just didn't recruit, couldn't recruit, and then he wound up getting fired. And they just have been down forever. Like I say, 11 years in this conference out here, 2 winning seasons in 11 years, no bowl games.
Wow. Well, the changing of the card here, and it seems like it's quicksand, and everything is just moving so fast.
Yeah, the land under our feet is really shifting in college football, and I feel awful for San Diego State because there was potential that they could be an add-on, even though I don't think they bring a lot to the table outside of Brian Dutcher's basketball program. But now they're locked in. They can't get out because of that dollar figure that have to pay us an exit fee.